everybody. Welcome back to the Liza West YouTube channel. I'm Liza Westgate, your host for today, and I'm excited to be joined by Leah Davidoff from Tennis Channel, and we will be covering all things fashion collections ahead of the Australian Open. Thanks so much for joining me. Will you tell the audience a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. A little bit about me. I played in college, as do most of us, and combined tennis with my passion for writing. So I ended up at Tennis Channel. I write for tennis.com. I am newly in charge of all things coordinator position wise in terms of the media. So it's moving our articles into more video, social bites. And I'm all about tennis, traveling, and all of that fun stuff. And I am probably the only person that will ever rep TC Plus, but I'm here for it.
Woohoo! Let's go. I love it. Well, congrats on your moving up the chain over at Tennis Channel. And if you guys haven't checked out her work before on tennis.com, I really recommend it. I've read a lot of your articles on Style Points and beyond before I even found you on Instagram and became internet friends. We will meet in person one day, I hope.
This
So,
year, hopefully.
yeah, we will make it happen. In-person content will happen, folks. Yeah, we basically have always been going back and forth in each other's DMs about people's outfits. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know I have done a little bit of a series previewing the collections that we've been able to see so far over the Australian Open. And we wanted to discuss them more in depth and really have a look at what's come out for the first Grand Slam of the year. So without further ado, what we'll show you the kits, we'll show you the collections, and we'll give you our thoughts.
Let's do it.
So we're going to start with the two giants, Nike and Adidas. First kit being Nike. And so we've got two slides here because there's kind of what seems to be two parts to this collection, with the primary collection leaning in to green and the secondary leaning into more yellow and mauves. Off the top of your head, initial reactions, thoughts, how are you feeling about this?
I'm not mad at the shade of green that they went with, but I'm concerned that it's not going to look great among the Australian Open blue. I feel like the green has been misplaced potentially, but I'm not mad at the color itself. The yellow, on the other hand, might be a little more off-putting in my opinion. It's like they took two sides of what a tennis ball color could be, and they're like, let's just make it two extremes.
Yeah, I mean, I think compared to last year, this kit is much better, right? I think we wanted less graphics, more simplicity, better silhouettes. And I think we're headed in that direction. For example, like the dress of this cut, I like a lot more than last year's. The back is much more flattering. I think the scoops, blend in much better with the sports bra and the length of the dress, the way it's sort of cut. It's more flattering.
Yeah.
I would say my concern a little bit is similar with you on like how the green looks against the very bright blue of the Australian Open courts. But I also feel like, without having had my hands on this yet, I feel like the material looks a little cheap. Like this isn't going to be a long-term purchase.
Yeah, that's another thing because I'm looking at the left corner and that definitely looks like a tennis dress that I have from their collection. And it's a very soft material. And it's not giving me the Nike Elite that we know and love.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting the price points, how they're comparative, once we actually get our hands on them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The price points are, the new Nike price points that we're all used to.
Of course.
Unfortunately, it is what it is. But, I think, again, like I think back to some of the dresses that I have that are 10 years old, where the material was totally different. And that's why the dress is still wearable 10 years later, as opposed to some of the dresses that I bought in recent years where they rip much more easily, or they're not as sweat absorbent, so they stain much more easily, and they just don't keep their shape as well as previous collections did.
Right. Definitely on the men's side, I think there's an improvement in terms of the design.
Yes.
Again, my brain is still trying to forget what happened at Australian Open in terms of the
Yeah.
fashion, especially because everyone was wearing the exact same thing across the board, and it didn't seem like
Yeah.
there were as many options going around.
Mhm.
But there's definitely an improvement, and in terms of like the players who are going to wear them, I think they're going to wear them well. The green is going to
Yeah.
contrast them well.
Yeah. Having said that, these are the kind of product pictures of the yellow and the mauve that's been weaved in. The yellow short sleeve is thought to be what Carlos Alcaraz is going to be wearing, or sorry, the no sleeve. How do you
Right.
feel about no sleeve in men's tennis?
I don't mind it. I really
Yeah,
don't. I
yeah,
think it's fun to see. Again, there's very limited options for men in terms of exploratory fashion, especially in sports.
mm-hmm.
So it's nice to see the different cuts and the different styles. I think honestly, the only thing that bothers me here is the yellow. And we're
Yeah,
gonna have to just deal with that eyesore in this
yeah,
time around. But I'm here for the cuts. I'm here for the styles. Um, yeah, I personally think t-shirts, tank tops are super comfortable to play in. Obviously, with longer hair, sometimes it'll get stuck on you as you sweat, but
right.
otherwise, like, it's not too bad. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the women are used to no sleeves. Like, if anything, we don't usually see women wearing sleeves, and we don't
Right.
usually see men wearing non sleeves. And I think there's been, like, I don't know, this sort of resistance to not having sleeveless looks for tennis. And I
Mm,
think a lot of that comes from, what people think is the classic tennis silhouette, which is Roger Federer. But it's like, then people will bring up, oh, well, Nadal used to wear sleeveless and then he stopped doing that. So that must mean it's not cool. But I think it's like you said, I think A, it's good to have options, and B, your clothing, your fashion choices, there should be enough variety to suit different personalities. And
right.
so, yeah, a Ben Shelton or an Alcaraz, who I'm sorry, like have the physique for that, look great in this. Medvedev in a sleeveless shirt, would that be an interesting look? Yeah, I'm not sure if I would be feeling that, but this works for Carlos, and so I think that's
Yeah,
why it's also important to look at fashion or some of these collections through the lens of who might be wearing it. I'm pretty sure they also have the sleeveless one in that mauve color as well. I think I saw
I think
that in
so.
qualifying, which I do like the mauve a lot. I think it's really pretty. And I like the yellow accents because it's not like that neon yellow. It's more of a kind of
Right.
lime, like muted yellow, which I really like. But my bone to pick here are these yellow shorts with the stripes,
They're
because
staring me
there's
in the
also
face.
there's also a hoodie with that too that they're
Right.
putting athletes in, and that is a big no for me. These shorts are not cute, and I just really hope Sabalenka doesn't wear the fuck out of these for the rest of the year, because
Because she would be
I
the
know she
player
likes
to
shorts.
really
Yeah,
like them. Yeah, she would be the player to bring them into
yeah,
style. Yeah, I tell me why Medvedev was also in my head when you were picturing players who shouldn't wear the tank. That was the first one. Because especially in the yellow, he'd look like a giraffe. It would be hilarious.
yeah. It
Um,
just wouldn't
I
be
think the
good.
mauve would look better on the men's side. Like I'm excited to see
Yeah,
that move forward, just in terms of like the coloring and the tanning of the girls who are going to play it, going to
mm-hmm.
wear it. But I agree with you. I'm really here for this color. It's very
Yeah,
new. It's very different. I like the design choices that they went and the pop of yellow, and it
mm-hmm.
ties into the rest of the collection without having to be a part of it. Like it's very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. And so, for folks who don't know, there is also, if you go to Nike.com, a red version of the dress, of the
Mm,
green dress. I like the red a lot. I'm guessing because the red isn't a part of kind of that AO lineup in the like Nike house, at least from what we've seen so far, that Sabalenka
right.
is going to be wearing red. So we'll react to that once that outfit comes out. But I guess my biggest bone with this collection is that it feels like a lot of kind of interesting thoughts, lines, kind of like good intention were improved, but it doesn't feel super cohesive. Like I don't know why we've got red, green, mauve,
Right.
yellow. Like, what are you going for, and like what is the collection? Like, I am more down for seeing a collection that's got two main colors with three different silhouettes as opposed to having this amount of variety. It's just, again, like it doesn't feel cohesive.
To play devil's advocate, because last year we got the same collection for literally every player, and it was basically every other match Nike versus Nike. Maybe
Yeah,
they're trying to break away from that because they sponsor so many players on tour and there's a
yeah,
lot of players wearing those kits. Maybe that's why they're offering more options. Will more players lean towards one thing than another? Probably. Let's be
yeah,
honest here. Not
yeah.
everyone's gonna like the tank option on the men's side,
Mm-hmm.
but potentially that could be the only reason I see so many different things. And we do get a little hint of the green on the yellow and the yellow on the green, and again the mauve
Yeah,
tying in with the yellow. So there is um some sort of collaboration amongst it, but I'm not
yeah.
seeing other than like a really strange looking tennis ball broken down color theme. I'm not seeing what they're going for.
Yeah, well, overall we're improved. We'll accept it. I'm curious to see with the men what they're really gonna choose, like the Taylor Fritz or the Runa, those types of guys, or if they're
Mm,
gonna just try and wear like other Nike original colors kits. We'll see. But
right.
overall collection is much improved from last year, so well done, Nike. This is not a roast fest
Absolutely.
for now.
Not entirely.
Yeah. Moving on to, yeah, Adidas, which for me is the worst collection that I have seen from them in a really long time. No, not even a really long time, because it's been bad for a while. But this to me is poor. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. There's not really much to say. I think someone in Adidas spied on Nike. They came back and were like, "Oh my God, they're doing green and yellow." And they said, "Bet, let's do that, but better." And this is what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
That's what I'm feeling because it feels like an afterthought. It really does.
yeah. And I feel like with Adidas, I've seen this like kind of animal print coming up year
Yeah,
on year, being
yeah.
integrated into their designs. And I'm like, why has nobody told you yet? Or why haven't you gotten the memo that like people don't like the animal print and maybe just like leave it at home?
I think the only person that was able to pull it off was Maria Sakkari. She had
Yeah.
the blue and white one. That was so sick, but I feel like, just because one thing sticks doesn't mean you gotta keep pushing it until it doesn't stick anymore.
Yeah.
It's just an avenue, like take that momentum and run with it in a different direction. Please
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. And my other big gripe with Adidas over the last year is they've really been going for these asymmetrical cuts for the women's dresses and sort of
Yeah,
always having like one leg sticking out with the short and then yeah, it's kind of looped on the other side. I don't like that, and I don't understand the intention of like what is that meant to be doing, like
right,
flattering wise, like, or are they trying to solve a design issue? One part of me was like, oh, you know how like the girls like tuck their dress up the side of the skirt sometimes or
right,
shorts sometimes,
right.
um but I don't think it's a functional thing,
I think
so I
it's
don't get it.
more of I think it's a design choice, with
Yeah.
like when you look at any streetwear fashion, there's high lows, there's like slanted options, there's off the shoulder cuts, there's things like that. And
Yeah.
I think they're playing into it. I actually don't mind it. I wish there was like
Mm-hmm.
a lefty versus righty version of it, depending on like
Yeah.
where you put your ball in the pocket, because I think that could play into it. I think they're missing the
Mm-hmm.
mark in terms of that. Because if I'm lefty and I'm sticking the ball under the long part of the dress, do I prefer that or would I want the ball out because it's on the
Mm-hmm.
shorter side?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I also wouldn't mind, this might be a stretch, but I wouldn't mind seeing them play into that on the men's side too. Not as drastically, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe in more of like the flowier shirts, like having a little bit of an off, like a non-symmetrical pattern at the bottom, the way the cut at
Mm-hmm.
the bottom, I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of here for it. I kind of want to see if players would like that at all because they do play with
Mm-hmm.
their shirts a lot too.
Yeah,
And
that's
again, it
true.
would play into the left and right side, I think in terms of comfort and routine, which arm you go with. Maybe that's something they play in with, like a little
Mm-hmm.
towel extension, mind you, you know? You never know. Like I think they're onto something on the women's side. I don't mind it. The
Yeah.
color and the pattern choices are definitely my biggest red flags here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think, fashion is also subjective. If it was coming from a functional perspective, and as you say, was like playing into like use cases, then I can
Yeah.
get on board with it a little bit more. But just from like a style angle, I don't love that. I also find it obviously depends on your shape, but I find the dresses to be pretty short. And that bit that does come up, like if you are a little larger on the backside, the how short that comes makes it look like a baggy t-shirt.
Yeah.
And first of all, I don't feel comfortable like wearing that in general. But second, it's just like you already know then with movement and leaning forward and running for shots, like your ass is out. And it's not that it's not out in other tennis dresses, but this like really cuts it close for me
Yeah.
personally. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's way too short. Again, I think some players are more comfortable wearing that. We've literally seen girls playing in sports bras over the past few years. That's
Yeah.
just how it is, you know, spandex, the shorts. It's the new wave. But
Yeah.
I agree with you that it's reading more like street style tennis wear because tennis skirts are apparently in off court now.
Mm-hmm.
It's reading more like street style casual. Look at me wearing tennis clothes to a non-tennis event than it
Right.
is like I'm about to play Australian Open. Watch out, I'm coming for
Yeah.
you. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. And of course it looks great on, someone like a Caroline Wozniacki who's got the legs and got the figure, and she's
Yeah,
tall, and it looks great on her color
not the
wise. She's
mom bod,
tanned,
the
but it's
dream mom
just,
bod.
yeah, exactly. It's like it's Caroline Wozniacki. Like the rest of us don't look like that. So
Yeah,
let's let's have some options. I also just this black like mesh tank that they've got going on. I think they also have a different color of this, maybe that green lime kind of color. I I don't understand.
I
I
don't
don't
like it.
understand it. I
I
really
don't
don't
get
like it
it.
at all.
I
Yeah.
don't get
It
it.
looks like one of those like jerseys that you put on like high school like sports practice, and they all
Yeah,
stink
it
and
literally
like
looks like it
look really
belongs in my
bad.
high school budget. It really does. That's what it's giving. It's giving, we kind of wanted to do a white thing, but it's not Wimbledon, so let's add some black. But
Yeah.
there's no tie-in to the pattern anywhere else. It's literally just the shirt. And that's, I think, my
Yeah.
biggest issue. If it was more cohesive from head to
Yeah.
toe,
Yeah.
maybe I could see the vision. But
Mm-hmm.
again, like even with the tank tops for the women, like the only bottom is the legging that we see, here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it just seems like a half effort.
Yeah. I agree. Overall, I'm pretty disappointed. Again, kind of wondering if you know Zverev, Tsitsipas, and all of them are gonna be in this get
Ugh,
up, or if there is gonna be some variation. Who knows? But yeah, they could do better.
I agree. Hopefully this is the bottom of the hill for 2024 for them.
I don't have big expectations. For those of you who don't know, who don't have the context, there are a couple of really good podcasts out at the moment that talk about the Adidas like business case study and what's been going on with them over the last 5 years, and in particular over the last couple of years since Kanye West decided to, do Kanye things that have cost Adidas from a business perspective dearly, but they are not Kanye is not entirely to blame here. Like Adidas knew who they were getting into bed with and took business decisions that were questionable. I'll put some links to that in the description, so if you're curious to know more about what's going on with Adidas. But I just suspect it's similar to Nike in the sense that they just don't have the same resources, design team, budget dedicated to tennis in the way that it was even 10, 15 years ago. And so that's why there's room for opportunity for other brands to pick up the slack, let's
And
just say.
and we're gonna get to it. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
pretty cool brand kits that we're going through very shortly that I'm excited
Yeah.
for.
So without further ado, we're into New Balance, starting with specifically Coco's line. And I think what's really dope about New Balance and Coco is that that's a relationship that's been a number of years in the making now. She is the only female player to have a signature shoe line. And I think that's a really awesome opportunity that we're seeing a sports brand invest in a woman's like signature shoe line for tennis first. And that she gets these unique looks and collections that are made for her. I think it's just really, really awesome. And I'm a big fan of the royal blue colorway, less
Yeah.
so of the entirely neon one. But what are your thoughts on the silhouettes?
I am here for all of this. I think Coco is the perfect like it's very much screaming Coco. It can't be, it's not one of those tennis player wide collections. Like I
Yeah,
can't see, any other player wearing this, but
yeah,
it's giving Coco in all of the right ways in terms of the cut and the design and the colors. Like everything comes together here, and I'm excited for her to wear this again against the Australian Open blue. I think
mm-hmm.
the yellow might do better, but I'm
Yeah.
excited. Like, I don't know. I think the blue could have a really nice tone against it too. It's not going to be an eyesore.
Yeah, I think it's giving very like I agree with you. Coco's personality, like it's almost like a little anime, like gamerish type of
Right,
look to it with the high neck. Um, I also I know she likes those types of cutouts and those kind of styles, and she also
right.
definitely prefers the A line type of skirt rather than a ruffled, flowy skirt. It seems like I think that in a way, I think the dark blue against the light blue of the court might be a really nice kind of blend.
Yeah,
But the yellow, will look good as well. I'm kind of curious to see what she's going to really lean into and pick for the tournament. Um, and I'm
yeah,
just really happy to see a brand like go all in like this women's like collection for a specific player, because the other thing is that oftentimes in the past when we've seen these special lines that come out specifically for a player, they're not available for purchase.
right.
That's not always the case, but for example, like Sabalenka's dress that she wore at the US Open last year, that wasn't available for the general public to buy. And I think it's really important when a brand is investing in a player and their fan base that there is opportunity for those fans to invest in these kits or purchase them themselves. I agree with you. I don't think this is the type of kit that's like gonna look amazing on a general audience, but for an athletic, sporty woman who is playing tennis, they're likely a fit individual. And
Yeah,
so if they've
yeah.
got the confidence and swag to kind of wear something like this, I think it's really awesome that it's available.
Yeah, especially leaning into Coco's following and the Gen Z
Yeah,
and just her entire personality. She's building such a great brand for herself, and this gives into it entirely. And the fact that it's open to the public and she's not being exclusive with it, which again, no disrespect there. I it makes sense if she would have done that. But I like that she's opening it up and she's trying to put herself on a plate and let you buy into it. I'm
yeah,
really here for this one.
I agree. The general kits for New Balance, just sort of releasing on their website now. For those of you who don't know, New Balance ended up doing like a specific collaboration with the Australian Open, so it's kind of like the AO's merch line. Cute collection. Didn't put it in here because the players won't be wearing it, and I think it's only for purchase in Australia. But as a result of that, I think they've had a lot on their plate. They had the AO collection, they had the specific Coco collection, and so I think they've kind of kept the rest of it pretty simple. It looks like there's this kind of blue and white colorway options for the women, one with a scoop neck, one with a collared neck shirt, and then for the men, it looks like it's going to be pretty simple look of blue, white. I think there's also a black version with just this like two button crew neck type of top. Simple but effective.
Yeah, giving me classic New Balance, honestly. Like
Yeah.
when they were first getting into tennis, this is giving me
Yeah.
exactly what I would have expected.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at the colors that the blue is giving the same blue as Coco, and
Yeah.
they're giving her a platform to stand on. I just hope it doesn't take away from the other players and notice,
Yeah.
make them look worse. But I like the cuts of for the women's.
Mm-hmm.
kit. I love the skirt and the shirt line. I really appreciate it. Even the collared shirt. I don't know if too many players will be seen wearing that, but I like it. Again, it's something different. It seems comfortable. If you're about that tucked look, there's no reason why you wouldn't go for it. And on the men's side,
Mm-hmm.
it's giving me like, yeah, I'm more focused on AO than my fashion statement, but I'm also in something super comfy, and you're not gonna hate me for wearing it. So I'm
Yeah.
not mad at this
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Me neither. I think they've done a good enough job with the silhouettes. I agree with you. I like that kind of tank top, the scoop neckline. It comes up a little bit, gives a nice waist, looks a little different from just a simple straight cut tee. And I think there will be a couple of players who go for that tucked in look, maybe the ones who are slightly on the older side,
Right.
who don't always want the midriff exposure. And yeah, I mean, I think the men will look fine in this kit. There's nothing here that's offending me. So
How do you feel
yeah.
about an all white look potentially not at Wimbledon?
I like all white for tennis, and first of all, I don't think all white always has to be reserved for Wimbledon, as special as I think Wimbledon is. I also think from like a practical perspective, it's freaking hot in
Yeah.
Australia. And to be honest with you, if it was me and I wanted to do everything possible to manage the heat, I would want to wear white. And there's
Yeah.
been a lot of like studies and research done into like literally how much of a temperature difference you can experience between wearing white and black in
Yeah.
sunny conditions. And especially on some of those courts that are, I always call the one at Wimbledon like the frying pan, where it's just a little lower and like the heat stays in and it's so freaking hot in there and it's just horrible. Yeah, for those types of situations, I would want to be wearing white. That
Yeah.
was kind of like my only other concern for Coco's kit, was like it just doesn't look very ventilated. It's very
Mm.
tight and like on you. And if you're sweating a lot, I would prefer something that's a little breathable, that can not be totally sticking to my skin. But
Yeah.
I also think it's personal preference. For some people don't mind it, some people do.
Right, I'm with you. I like a little bit more breathability in my clothes. Coco
Yeah,
is on the younger side. She likes what she does, and
yeah,
she pulls it off. She can play through it. It'll be
yeah,
it'll be a fun time. But yeah, I agree
yeah,
with you. White is definitely the superior choice in terms of playing against the weather.
yeah.
Um, I don't mind it at all. I think it's gonna look really nice.
Yeah, and for the players that have a little bit of summer tan going on from the Aussie summer, it's flattering. It looks nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, moving to Asics. Is it Asics? Never know. I
That's
can
how
say
I
it right or
pronounce
wrong.
it.
Okay, good. Sorry, Asics, if we're butchering it. My bad. But they seem to be leaning into the neon orange, especially for the top and shoe combo. Um, I did see some of these image renderings for the blue version of the men's shirt, but I've not really seen that in their campaign, so I'm not sure if that's really an option or not. But yeah, what are your initial thoughts here in terms of color choices and design?
It's giving me the classic shirt matches shoe, like you see it
Yeah,
on the street, you see it in tennis, you've seen it a lot.
yeah.
And I'm not mad at it. The orange, I kind of like that color orange. I like the design choice that they went with the white stripe going down the side. I think it's a fun little add-in. I don't know if I like the blue as much in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the contrast, but
Mm-hmm.
I like the efforts here, I really do, and I think the dress that she's wearing is really cute and it fits to her character also. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at this. I think the blue is the only thing that's throwing me off, honestly.
Yeah. I I really don't like the orange. It's just giving me traffic cone hazard vibes. And I just and I don't like these kind of off center lines.
Okay,
Plus,
fair.
if you look closely, the shirt has that kind of cross checkered
Also from the blue,
design.
yeah.
Right. And I'm like, do you need both of those? Or could we align the white strip with where the color is, transitioning? If it's
Yeah.
going to be off center, like maybe mark that as like the transition point. between the two colors. So that's giving me a little bit of bother. The blue short is fine. I don't have huge issues with it. The women's dress, it's like I'm irritated by it because why didn't you use the same orange as the men's orange?
Right. Like instead of also the blue, I would have given that color orange as an option.
Right. Like the peachy
Yeah.
orange is definitely
It's
better. Like
cute.
it's definitely between a peachy pinky orange. So I'm
Yeah.
fine with it.
I
It's
love
also
that.
not the whole dress and it's got some accents to it. I think
Right.
the silhouette, it's very similar to last year's silhouette, so it will fit nicely. The shorts, I think, are also that orangey color, which is cute. I know I've seen it in some promo videos with Harriet Dart, I think, where they
Mm,
have a skirt top combo of this as well with like a cutout on the back that looks decent.
right.
Um, I did pick this up with Original Penguin as well, but sometimes for me, like with these kits, there's some small details missing. So it's like if you're gonna go with the matchy, can we get the wristbands and the hats
Yeah.
also included in the convo? Because it looks like for the blue, they've got the blue wristband and the blue hat, but like, why does the
But it's not
white
the
have to
same
come
blue
with?
either.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm
Yeah.
like, could there be room for like coordinating and matching that?
Yeah.
Maybe for the men, maybe that dark blue could be good. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
If
yeah,
they
some
brought
food for
if they
thought.
brought that dark blue short color to the shirt, I wouldn't have hated it as much. And hate
Yeah,
is a strong word, but that was the initial reaction to this blue combination because we're
yeah,
giving 45 degrees of blue for no
yeah,
reason. I agree with you that like the cross pattern isn't necessary, and even like the white stripe on the sleeve is
mm-hmm.
is is kind of throwing me off. That's like the only part that I would actually take away from it.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, the women's outfit is seemingly the only one that's more put together. And why you
mm-hmm.
don't hate the white hat and the wristband as much because it goes in with the accent touches. But with
Exactly.
everything else, like on the men's line, it's clearly standing out.
Yeah,
So there's improvement, but they're onto something. I don't mind
yeah,
it.
yeah. I really liked their kits that they had for the US Open last year
Yeah,
with the teal, and then they also had that kind of like burgundy ish version. And I liked the graphics for that. I liked the color choices more than this collection.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I've seen better from them.
yeah. This is true.
Okay, moving to Lacoste and starting with the men's collections, of which there is three. We've got the Novak Djokovic line, the Medvedev line, and then the kind of generic line.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with Djokovic's line, which is the one on the far left, the kind of light blue, dark blue combination. Initial thoughts?
I don't think you want me to go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So, look, I think Djokovic likes to wear blue in Australia. We saw it last year too. In fact, to me, the shorts look pretty much exactly the same style and hex code as they were last year. So it's like, well, then it's not really a new collection. The light blue top with the seemingly new blue color introduced on that side panel, it's giving Smurf. Even Sabalenka said it. And even Djokovic's coach said, please don't wear the blue socks with this outfit. Please don't. Because you are dangerously heading into Smurf territory.
Honestly, I wouldn't. I'm picturing the memes and the tennis community just going after it, and I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah.
Um, with that being said, I really don't think that he needs to take his obsession with blue and Australia to this degree. I
Yeah.
feel like he combined all of his future blue hopes into one, and it didn't know what to make of itself. So this is what we get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Agreed.
here for this at all. Literally just want the tennis world to have a good laugh. That's what I'm hoping for to get out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here with you. That random blue insert in the side panel. I just want to know who did that, if it was an accident or not. That would be good to know. So I think we're in agreement. It's just not it. And neither really is Medvedev's kit,
No,
because I don't like this green. Do you?
no, no, I really don't. It's giving. I want to wear a fun shirt, and that's about as much as I'll commit to my fashion choices. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not giving me more than an obligation for him to do something with Lacoste.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Literally.
yeah. I don't know why everyone decided that green was their color this year, because no one has actually nailed it to a point where I'm okay
Yeah,
with it.
yeah,
I think Nike so far is the closest to a green that is acceptable.
yeah,
Um, but again, I just don't know what's going on here. It's like they brought the alligator for Lacoste to life,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Well
that's
said.
it.
I don't have much to add. I don't recommend that you buy this, guys. Maybe buy the generic line, which to me, I like
Yeah,
what's going on here on the right side. Okay, I like the cream and the blue, and I also like the Dimitrov outfit here with the teal and the cream tucked in.
yeah.
I think the bomber jacket works with it too. I like the hat with the two color contrast. I've seen Feast wearing it this week. I think he looks great. I'm happy with this. I don't have bones to pick. Do you?
No, not at all. At first glance, I think just because of his posture, it was giving ball boy, but I'm not
Yeah,
mad at it at all. I think the only thing that I would hate to see is if, again, the Australian Open blue takes away from this.
yeah,
Like maybe this isn't the right place to be wearing it, but I'm not. I'm really here for this.
yeah, yeah.
Even the
I agree.
off-centered toning in the shirt, I'm here for all of this. On
Yeah,
the on one half of the screen.
yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
why, like you got the world number one and world number two, three signed to your brand, and this is what you come up with. Like, really? Uh, it's fine. It's fine. We can be a
It's
little
not.
disappointed
It's
because
not, but it's okay.
I think the
Um,
women's collection gets even worse. I hate the women's collection. Do you?
I'm I'm feeling so many things.
Okay.
I'm feeling so many things. No, just no.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I don't like the cut. I don't think that shirt should go with that skirt, and I don't know
Yeah.
if I like the skirt and shirt separately either.
Yeah.
Again, not mad at the color choices. We saw it go well on the men's side. I just think
Mm-hmm.
design-wise, this is not where they should have gone. I like the blue wristband. I like that out, but I really don't like anything else
I agree.
stylistically.
Yeah, I think that collar on the shirt is it's
It's
odd.
in your face. It's in your face.
Yeah.
If the colors were inverted, potentially it would
Yeah.
be nicer because it wouldn't be so, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
calling your eyes here.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're looking here and literally everything else is more of a neutral skin tone,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not, it's giving invisible blanket,
Yeah. Washed out.
nude, washed out,
Mm-hmm.
ghost like. Yeah, I'm not here for this at all.
Yeah. And that look on the left, that's a skirt as well. Those are shorts.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
I yeah, they're shorts,
Hmm.
not a skirt. And I don't like the pleated short look.
I personally wouldn't wear it,
Yeah.
but I'm not mad that that's the direction they would go.
Mm-hmm.
But again, not with that shirt.
Yeah.
Like it would be fitting with Lacoste to do that kind of skirt look, but not in this way. They really missed the mark
Yeah.
here.
Then you need more of a like cropped kind of like boxier shirt. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like I
it's
don't know
odd.
what the inspo is, and the dress is a shame to me too because I felt like they really kind of nailed the dress silhouette, like with the neck contive last year with
Yeah,
the zip, and so they have the same seam, middle seam, but then the high scoop neck top, the colorway, again, like, yeah, it's feeling very blended in. Like maybe they're thinking, oh, this looks good against the Australian Open colors, but if you are not tanned, this is gonna look crap.
You're gonna look like a ghost.
Yeah,
It's gonna be us watching you on screen, and we're gonna follow a racket. We're not gonna be able to see you. That's honestly what's gonna happen. It's gonna be very
yeah,
cool for us as viewers,
yeah.
but it's not it's not anything worth bragging about.
I agree. I will say, of the Novak collection, I don't hate this jacket and tracksuit on the right hand side. I don't mind that as like a combined over the top tracksuit look. Do you?
I don't mind it, but I wouldn't recommend or purchase it for a friend. Like it's still very much, and I think partially it's because I'm still staring at Novak's collection on the left here.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't mind it. I think it would fit a very specific kind of person and
Mm-hmm.
player. Um, but we've seen much better things from Djokovic. I don't
Agree.
mind the color palette that he's chosen. I just don't
Mm-hmm.
think that it came together as is. The jacket's cool. I don't mind that at all. But I think
Yeah.
overall, it's just giving too much, too neutral, too pale looking.
Yeah.
Like there's something missing for me overall.
Yeah. I agree. Moving it on to Wilson, who
Mm.
are just about starting to release stuff. This is a guess, guys. I think this is what their collection is going to be. I think they are leaning into hot pink and some purple. And I love me some Bobby pink. I'm happy. I'm really happy and I really want to buy it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you,
Yeah.
honestly. I'm so here for this. Wilson has such a great style, and I
Yeah.
love that they're trying to be different and sticking to their true guns and trying to pop.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything about this. On the men's side, I think the only thing that I would note is the shorts because I really like the purple shirt, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. But that short color is giving me pink mixed with the purple, and it
Yeah.
seems out of place. I feel like
Yeah.
it could have been entirely separate.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's not the same hot pink as we're seeing for the women. But
Hmm.
I'm not sure you could put purple on top of that. I'd have to like see the colors side by side.
Right.
It's
Right.
hard with the renderings, but I'm curious to see if Nicholas Jari, who's kind of I guess that top rated guy now, if he's gonna wear the pink or if he'll go for the blue. I think his style is probably more the blue and the black
Yeah.
combo together, but I love to see a guy in pink. I'm so here for it. And not that many guys wear pink on the tour. And if he wore these shorts, I would be like, good for you, bro. Like this looks great and nobody else is wearing anything similar.
Honestly, except for Sinner, I would like
Yeah.
to see every guy in this and
Yeah.
trying out the pink. I just think Sinner, it would be too much for him, and I think there's a
Yeah.
reason he has never done that before, and why we
Yeah.
probably won't see it from him.
Yeah.
But I really hope that the guys lean into the purple and the pink side,
Yeah.
because it definitely stands out, and it kind of gives you a boost of confidence walking onto the court, knowing that you're standing out from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's this whole thing. I'm here for this.
Me
Absolutely.
too. They've also got this new women's dress,
Mm,
which is the kind of, I guess, yeah, more A-line, like tighter silhouette. I like it too. They have it in, I think, black and navy and maybe white. They had like a version that had like a plaid coloring to it, but that came out like previously. So I think this is a new line. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of their newer signed women's players opting for this if they don't have the confidence of a Kostjuk to go for the Barbie pink. But I really like the silhouette on this, and tennis players are so athletic and have such, great body shape for the most part that I think
yeah.
this could really be a very flattering look for a lot of the women.
Yeah. I would honestly be surprised if more women lean towards the black dress than they do the pink because it's
Yeah.
so different and it's so cool. I think the only
Yeah.
reason you would go for the dress is if you didn't like wearing that kind of cut of the shirt with the skirt. I
Mm-hmm.
think that would
Yeah.
be the only reason
Yeah,
they'd be more comfortable in the black, but otherwise, I feel like a lot of the girls are gonna play into the pink. It's
yeah,
gonna be a
I
lot
think
of
so too.
fun.
And I think they might have, because this is like the everyday Brahmi, and then they also have a Brahmi that's like a higher cut. I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if they give that as an option, because I'm sure they're gonna have that colorway for both. But if you guys are liking this collection, it just came out on Wilson.com today, so you can go and style yourself, and you can be the best dressed out of all your tennis friends, because
Yeah, because we won't
I
judge you
love
if
this
you purchase
collection.
this one.
No,
We will
we will
not.
not judge you.
We're we'll be right there with you, actually.
Whereas I will judge you if you purchase this collection from
What a
Yonex,
transition.
which I just found out today came out with this swirly wrapping paper looking dress, and I hate it.
In terms of the color palette, I'm not mad. In
Yeah,
terms of the swirl, no.
yeah.
No.
Why?
It's
Just why?
no. It should be that's like a funky rug, for an interior
Yeah,
designer, or
yeah.
like a really spunky, like 70s happening themed rooftop bar that you go to. Like
Mm,
that's what you would see on the walls, like neon light kind of a thing. For a tennis court, maybe not the way to go.
yeah.
Even
And
the
you know
sleeves.
Caroline
Oh my
Garcia
God.
is gonna wear the heck out of this. It's just no. Please, Caro, tell them no.
I'm not mad. I think the only defining thing here is the men's blue.
Yeah,
Because I don't like the sleeves at all for the women either.
yeah,
And the
I agree.
shoe and the different blue combinations for the
Yeah,
women.
totally.
I'm sorry. I'm just not. I think literally the only thing I wouldn't mind seeing is the men's collection that we see in front of us.
I agree, because what Elena Rybakina is wearing here, I don't.
Yeah.
Again, like that yellow looks different from the yellow that we're seeing on the right, which looks more neon.
Yeah.
The tank top in itself is fine, but it's just so boring.
It's
And I don't like that color yellow. It like gives me like, I don't know why, but like nursery type of like baby
yeah.
colored yellow.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
Yeah, and I think the shoes again, they're like forced because
Yes.
the
Yeah.
sleeve has a little bit of that color. They're like, we're gonna
Yeah.
go with it, and it's the
Yeah.
wrong choice.
I agree.
Um, yeah, I think she would be the only player that would be able to pull off the swirl if she went for it.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful and hopeful that she won't.
Yeah.
Because I really hope we see the bare minimum. And no offense to these players, because I probably will be rooting for you in the future, but I probably won't be in this tournament because I just simply want this off the screen. That would be
I
the
feel you.
only preference for me going into
I
matches.
am. Yeah, I have a funny feeling she's gonna be in the swati dress. I don't know why. I have a funny feeling, but it just bothers me because she is so beautiful and has such an amazing physique, like such a long back and just tall, and the long hair, and it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, can you just do something a little more for her? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Even off court, like the
yeah,
WTA finals gown
yes,
that she wore, I think it was so nice and it was like on the right track, but you can do so much more with her.
yeah, yeah,
She like you said, she is a beautiful girl and with the right team of designers and stylists behind her, like there's no way you're not selling out that collection, but
yeah, exactly. She could
something's got to
literally
change.
be, yeah, she is, that traditional blonde hair, blue eye, like beautiful skin, tall, skinny. Yeah, like perfection in terms of what you could want for a tennis player to rep your fashion
Yeah.
collection. And if someone wanted to, she could easily be best dressed on the tour by far.
That
And
that's
the
what
fact that
bothers
Yonex, yeah, the fact that Yonex isn't taking advantage of the fact that she is who she is, a Grand Slam champion inside the top 10, a real contender in terms of uh, titles this year. I just think, like, just spend the extra effort and energy, and your collections might actually pop off if you get it
right.
right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, keeping it moving. Le Coq Sportif. Purple. Purple comes back, but this time it's not the same shade of purple as we saw with Wilson, and it's not as nice of a shade of purple. How do you feel?
Yeah, I agree that the Wilson purple is funkier and cooler and standoutish. But in terms of the purple as a collection and a collective piece, I'm here for
Mm-hmm.
this one more than Wilson, just because of the
Yeah.
pink and purple, vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind the total fit look. The
Mm-hmm.
dress seems like your classic tennis dress with a little edge on top, fitting the sports bra. Hopefully it has one built in because
Yeah.
otherwise we're gonna get a mess up here.
Mm-hmm.
But the men's collection I really like. It just seems well thought out the
Yeah.
entire way through. Even the little fading on the side is the same across the board. I'm here for this. I really like this one.
Yeah, I like this collection too. I prefer the dark purple over the light purple
Yeah,
personally. But I think they're making a good splash. I'm glad that again, like they're going with a different, maybe slightly non-traditional colorway. We don't see too many kits coming out in purple. I think it's important when you're a smaller brand to do stuff that feels different from others.
yeah,
I think that tennis dress is very universal. Like that can look good on pretty much any physique because it's not super fitted and it has that
right.
kind of wrap nature on it on the side. I think if you're, a rec level tennis player and maybe you're not as fit and you want, you don't want something hugging every bit of your curves, I reckon that will look good. And I think that, the little kind of blending of the lighter and darker purples really makes this feel like a cohesive collection. They've paid attention
Mhm.
on the wristbands, which I'm always appreciative of. And yeah, I mean, other than maybe this material not being the high end material, which I can't really
Right.
tell, but based on their price points, I would assume it's not going to be like your luxury performance material, but in
Mhm.
terms of a generic tennis kit, you need something for the season. I like this. I would point in that direction.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. They're a smaller brand. They're looking to stand out. They're looking to also fit in and be one of the masses, and this is the right way to go about it. They went with the
Yeah,
right color palette. Even the socks match they're playing into literally everything they can without being overbearing and
yeah,
too out of the ordinary. And I'm really feeling this one.
yeah. Good marks for the Coq Sportif. Original Penguin. Haven't seen the men's
Mm.
collection yet, but the women. First of all, I think Tom Tomljanovic is, kind of their marquee ambassador, even if there are other players that they've signed now who are ranked higher than her. And I do think they design some of the collection with her in mind. But if you look at their silhouettes in general, Original Penguin, I think is originally more of a golf brand. So you can kind of
Right,
see that influence coming in. A lot of their stuff is kind of that very like A line straight cuts. And
right.
if you are long legged or you have a long back, this type of thing looks good on you. If you're short, I don't know. I would have to see it on you. But I like
Right.
the pink and I really do like pink and green. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not mad at these color choices. I think they're very, again, like you said, they're building it based on Isla, and it's gonna look really, really flattering on her. I think the shade of pink and green that they went with don't overpower each other. They complement each
Yeah.
other well. So while literally in any other scenario this could be too much cotton candy, it's really not.
Yeah.
And it's light colored. It's going to be easy to play in the heat with this. It's not anything too spectacular, but it's giving all the right notes that it needs to give for Australia.
Yeah. My only gripe is sometimes I don't like these types of cutouts on
Mm,
tank tops. Um, that might be because I'm super flat chested, so that really does nothing for me. Like this adds no value. I don't know if it does if you are not flat chested, but
I mean,
like
I
it
like
kind of
them.
just yeah, okay, all right. Maybe this is
Uh,
a me thing.
but yeah, I agree. Again, it's just more of like your body type. Like you
Yeah,
said, the lankier looking girls are gonna like these better, but a shorter girl, I don't know. Like the shorter girls, I would see wearing this tank top and that style
Yeah,
just to kind of give it a little bit different. I don't know if they'd go for the straight look like the what is wearing in the picture now.
yeah.
Um, but I like that they have a little bit different options too, that they're not too similar.
Again, yeah, I agree, and
Yeah.
I think the overall colorway is good. I'm intrigued to see if they have the men also in this little baby pink because again, men in pink. Why don't we see it more? I
Right.
love men in pink.
Right. Right. And this pink would look not bad on I don't know. I'm trying to find a
Oh,
pink for him, but I think like in a short color, this could be really nice on him
yeah, I think so
for
too.
sure. Yeah, I'm here for this one.
Yeah, my only bone to pick is the hat and the freaking wristbands. Like, can we just go the final mile, please? That would make me
Even just like
happy.
a hint of the green that they chose, just
Yeah,
something. Just give me
something.
something.
Tie it together. But good job from them. Less so for Bidi Badu.
These
They followed me
transitions
on
are
Instagram
sending
the
me.
other day, and I all of a sudden started feeling guilty because I have roasted them so many times. And then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? No, you deserve the roasts. I do not get it. I don't. Do you?
No. I can see I
No.
can see because I'm trying to think like in terms of the transitional pieces that we're seeing, we've
Mhm.
seen them before in the past and we've seen them done successfully. So again, I can see what maybe their initial design idea was like that's what we're going for, but I don't know how we went from that and ended up here because the man literally looks pixelated. The
Yeah.
woman's shoulder looks like it's being taken over by this color scheme, and by the end of the match she's just going to be full on
Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Also the wristband and the socks are white
Yeah.
and like again, nothing else is thought through. I
Yeah.
don't like the blue that they chose as the neutral color for this. I think that's probably the biggest thing that's throwing us off is because that blue is actually a really nice color. And if they would have played into that, would have been great. But there's so
Yeah.
many conflicting color elements
Hmm.
happening. I don't think they had a palette. I think they just try to put something together here. I don't know.
Yeah. And there's so much going on, like pattern wise. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
why are you doing pixelated for the men and then for the women it's more of this like smudged paintbrush type of look, like why isn't
Right,
it the same for both is kind of my first
right,
question.
right.
I prefer what they did for the women, like it's more blended, like that pixelated short is just so aggressive. I
And
just
I think it would look better on the men too.
Right.
The
And
paintbrush
maybe
stuff.
just keep it as accents. Like if you want to have some graphic, like keep it as a, stripe on the side and like let's make that cohesive,
Right,
with the top and the short. Again, with that women's thing, it's like why do you have it on the shoulder, but then on the tank top it's on the bottom, and it transitions with the skirt, but the t-shirt doesn't transition with the skirt. Like it's things like that where I'm like, I just don't like why is it so here, there, and everywhere? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think enough said, honestly. I think we
Enough
need to
said.
change
Yeah.
this before
Yeah.
we
It
go
just
on a psychedelic journey of our own here.
literally, it's just not. It's not it. I included Jay Lindburg in here because they signed Christopher Eubanks this year,
Here
and
we
they have
go.
a couple of women's players. They also signed Von Drusova last year, the women's champion. They have Petra Martic, and then Miriam Borkland, who unfortunately isn't going to be playing. But
Yeah,
I think if you guys haven't checked out Jay Lindberg, it's a European, predominantly golf brand, but they are trying to make a splash in the US market. And I have been browsing on their website for a little while now. They have a lot of styles, and that stuff is different, and it's really cool in my opinion. And I like what they've done, like campaign wise with Eubanks. I think to me why this blue is working is because it looks like it's very similar to the hex code blue of the Australian Open, and so I feel
yeah,
like they're one of very few brands that said, hey, like, let's look at the hex code of the color of the court that our players are going to be on, and let's make something that doesn't look hideous in combination with that. And so if you're going to do blue on blue, I think they got it right.
Yeah, I love everything about this. This is kind of what you'd expect from the Djokovic Lacoste.
Yes.
And it wasn't giving. Like you wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
expect this brand to be able to pull this off,
Yeah.
but they did. And it's I'm here for all of it. Even the zip up with the
Mm-hmm.
pants. Normally, I'm not
Yeah.
too fan of like the crazy patterned matching sets, but it's very in style. It's very chic. I could see this on the players, on anybody really.
Yeah.
I'm really really here for this.
Yeah, I'm also very much a fan of the dress that Miriam Borkland is wearing, that purple one. I think they
Yeah.
call it the Miranda style dress. They have it in other
Mm,
colors too. But I like this kind of slightly separated V line neck. I think always V line on women is very flattering. It kind of brings the eye down, and then the skirt has a little bit of kind of shape to it. So I think it helps to create that hourglass
mm.
figure. I love that color of purple too. Big,
It's
big purple
beautiful.
girl. Yeah.
Yeah, I love everything about that. Like you said, I like the different separations in terms of the sleeve wear, and the pattern that fits in, even though it's a purple and not a blue, but it fits into the same mold that they're going for. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And just to point out your most favorite part, the wristbands are in fact noted in this case.
Yeah.
The socks are not specifically white, which is nice. And even on the
Yeah.
shoe, the pattern from the jacket is played into. Like everything from top to bottom, even the hat that he's wearing, like
Yeah.
it this is a complete collection from literally the one design to the entire thing. You can see
Yeah.
it throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the top favorites for sure.
I agree. They should sign more players. And lastly, we have picked out a couple of the one-offs, the girlies that have either started their own lines or are venturing out to new brands. And in particular, this couldn't be a fashion review unless we talked about Yelena Ostapenko with her DK1 fashion. And I'll preface this by saying, first of all, kudos to her for having her own line and literally not giving a
Yeah.
fuck about I what other people think. She makes stuff that she wants to wear that she likes, even if
Yeah.
it looks ugly. Okay, so from a businesswoman perspective, bravo. But
Yeah.
from a design perspective, I yeah. The
Yeah.
only saving grace to this outfit for me is the jacket. I like the jacket because I think it hides these horrible blue stripes and it doesn't look bad with the skirt. I like the collar. I kind of like a cropped bomber jacket. So that one, I'm not going to hate on. But the top with the little like reverse, I don't know, work shirt. I don't even know what to call that. Lapel? What is that? Yeah.
It's yeah. Um There's a lot to say about this.
Yeah.
I think to go back to your first point about who she is, and it's she's creating this brand, and without even realizing it, literally just being her on a plate is creating this brand and persona.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that her clothes play into that. That being said, the only saving grace, in my opinion, aside from the jacket, which I do like, even the collared part, I'm here for all of that. My favorite part is that we're getting a break from the shoulder loofahs, as I
Oh my
like to
god.
call them, because we've seen them in probably every shade at this point.
Yeah.
And who would have thought they had multiple styles? Who would have thought? Only Ostapenko.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like the blue and the purple together. That
Mm-hmm.
being said, I think both of those colors look nice on her, with the
Mm-hmm.
purple being a little bit nicer. Um, there's definitely saving graces here, but I don't get it. I think the
Yeah.
only person that could wear this and probably will ever wear this is her.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think this is a fun Halloween costume for a tennis party.
yeah, and in a way, I think maybe that's the point, that it's like
Yeah,
this is her personality. She does have a version of this dress with the purple stripes as
right.
opposed to the blue stripes, which I thought was the better one
Yeah,
of these. I agree with you. I think getting rid of the shoulder loofers, the frills, those just didn't need to be around anymore. Again, like, I also don't hate this cut on the skirt. Wilson has a very
yeah,
similar cut of skirt. I think one
yeah,
also has to be forgiving and aware of the fact that she is a different body shape than a lot of, our traditional tennis player, and that's not judging her, but the styles that work for her and look good on her are going to be different than these traditional silhouettes that we're used to seeing. And maybe that's part of the reason why she designs her own stuff, is because these kind of mainstream kits are not flattering for her figure. And so I don't hate the way that this skirt is cut per se. I just
right.
I really don't like the top the most.
Yeah, I think the skirt has some leeway to it. Like I like it. I don't mind the little cut in the front.
Yeah,
I think it's everything up here. And like you said, I think part of the reason I am upset with her designs is because she is a different body type and she has the opportunity to really bring tennis and those kinds of body types to the masses, like it's something that could be
yeah,
super relatable. And if her designs were more globally appreciated and honed in to not necessarily like the generic look for tennis, but more
mm-hmm.
something more stylistic across the board that people could relate to and want to wear, especially if they have similar figures. I think she's missing the mark in that regards, but
Yeah,
I also it's a balancing scale, right? Because while she could be doing that, she's absolutely and 100% within herself, and there's
yeah,
no disrespect there either. So it's
yeah,
really hit or miss.
yeah.
So again,
Just
like the
really wish
skirt is
she would
probably
move
the
her
only
own.
saving grace. Yeah,
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 yeah.
exactly.
Like, ditch the Adidas hat once and for all, girl. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sure you can afford to
Oh
just
my
get some
God.
generic visors. Yeah,
Wait, she can do like the loofah on her hair tie.
yeah.
Or
Like,
it's like
there's
a
so many
bandana. That
opportunities
could be a
here. Like,
signature. I've just
exactly.
like come to grow, the loofahs have grown on me at this point. I'm kind of
Yeah,
like, as much as I'm happy I'm not seeing them, I miss them a little bit.
yeah. I miss the controversy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, Yelena, like, I'm sure you like this Adidas hat, but let's transition you away. Like, let's make your own hats. That would be cool. But overall, I'm not gonna bash her. I think she brings the fun. I think she's always a part of the fashion conversation. And if that
Yeah.
gets people talking in this realm, good for her.
Why not?
The
Yeah.
the other lady who has her own line that she launched this time last year at the Aussie Open is Donna. Last year she wore baby pink. I loved it. I'm pretty sure she was in long sleeves. This year it's blue. I don't know how she wears long sleeves in this heat. I don't know if this somehow keeps her cool, keeps the sun off her. Maybe I'm missing a trick, but it's brave to me.
Yeah, unless her fitness team is telling her this is a great workout opportunity to look ahead and to keep you in shape, I don't know why you would go long sleeve, especially
Yeah,
in Australia.
yeah,
But I like the blue. I like it's super simple, but it has
mm-hmm.
character.
Yeah,
And I really like that about this.
yeah. It's very Donna,
Hmm.
and I think she herself is a fashionable person. I think she knows what looks good on her, and yeah, she'll look good on court in this. And last
Yeah.
but not least, Sloane Stevens with Free People. And could only kind of find a couple of these Polaroids, but I think Free People has had some cute silhouettes. Dresses come out. They've unfortunately targeted the pickleball community a little heavier than tennis, but we don't need to talk about that. And of course, Sloane Stevens, amazing figure. This type of dress is going to look great on her.
Yeah.
I can't wear that type of low scoop neck dress unless it's accommodating of a small chest, unfortunately for me. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have to, that it has to work for everyone.
Right. No, I think for her this is a beautiful encompassment of who she is in
Yeah.
in an outfit. I kind of wish it wasn't white. like even a little bit
Yeah.
off-white, something different so that the logos wouldn't feel so in your face. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I like everything about this. I really do. It fits her so well.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see her play in it because I think it looks super comfortable for her too.
I agree. I like the pleated skirt. The silhouette's gonna, kind of come out a little bit. It's gonna look. She's gonna look great in it, and she's, her skin is amazing too. Like, I think the outfit does some talking, but it also kind of lets, like, her beauty shine even more by
Yeah.
not having a different color choice and just kind of being simple and
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
So I like it. I think. I mean, she always looks great. So
That's true. That is
yeah.
true.
So
Absolutely.
let's round things up. All right. That concludes this round of the fashion review ahead of the Australian Open. Of course, I'm aware there are some brands that are omitted here, but some of them are not on top of their shit and they don't have all of the kits released the morning of the Australian Open. At least it's not on their websites. I haven't seen it all. So, yes, I'm well aware that by the time you view this video, there may be some new additions. So, we will cover that on my Instagram in an Instagram live post the Australian Open. We will review the best dress and just keep a casual chat. So if you want to weigh in with your opinions, be sure to join us there in a couple of weeks' time. And of course, let us know what you think of the different fits that we reviewed in the comments below. And without further ado, we will see you in a few weeks' time. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been a lot of fun. And yeah, until next time, guys.